Have you ever sent a text, stared at the screen, and felt your dignity slowly evaporate with every minute they didn't reply? We have all been there. We think if we just explain one more time, they will understand. But what if I told you that your words are actually the very thing destroying your value? Welcome back to INVICTUS X. Today, we stop the bleeding. They told you to fight for what you love. They told you that communication is key. And while that is true in a healthy dynamic, in a situation where you are being undervalued, those rules do not apply. When you chase, when you beg, when you draft that long paragraph explaining your feelings to someone who clearly doesn't care, you aren't communicating. You are performing. You are dancing for an audience that has already left the theater. The ancient Stoics understood a fundamental truth that modern society has forgotten. The real strength isn't in proving your worth. It's in knowing it so deeply that you have no desire to prove it to anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, didn't run around the Senate begging people to understand his point of view. He didn't plead for validation. He wrote in his personal journals, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When you chase someone, you are handing them the keys to your emotional stability and saying, "Here, drive me off a cliff." Let's pause and look at the psychology here. Why is silence so terrifying? It's because silence feels like a risk. We are terrified that if we stop making noise, we will be forgotten. But the inverse is true. In a world where everyone is screaming to be seen, the person who stays quiet becomes magnetic. I was reading a fascinating insight on GLASP regarding the power of silence in communication. It noted that awkward silences can actually be a powerful tool because they create uncertainty. In a negotiation or a relationship conflict, the person who speaks first loses leverage. When you embrace silence, you aren't just being quiet. You are holding a mirror up to the other person. Think about it. When you stop chasing, you disrupt the pattern. If someone is used to you always being available, always fixing things, always apologizing, your sudden silence hits them like a truck. It forces them to sit with their own behavior without you there to cushion the blow. You are no longer the distraction from their guilt. You are the evidence of it. Let me give you a specific example. Imagine a man named David. David was in a relationship where he was constantly undervalued. Every time his partner pulled away, David paddled harder. He became like a tugboat, frantically motoring around a giant ship trying to push it into the harbor, exhausting his engine, burning all his fuel. He thought this was love. He thought this was effort. But eventually, David broke. He stopped the engine. He stopped calling. He stopped asking, "What's wrong?" He just went about his work, focused on his health, and embodied his own values. He became a lighthouse. Do you know the difference? A tugboat chases ships. A lighthouse stands on the rock and shines. It doesn't care if the ships come or go. It doesn't run into the ocean screaming, "Look at my light!" It just is. When David became the lighthouse, two things happened. First, the anxiety in his chest vanished because he wasn't trying to control the uncontrollable. Second, his partner panicked. The tugboat stopped pushing, so she had to steer her own ship. She suddenly realized the value of the light she had been ignoring. But by then, David had realized something even more important. He didn't need the ship to validate the lighthouse. This is where the Stoic concept of embody, don't explain transforms your life. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Applying this to your life means, don't tell people you are trustworthy. Be trustworthy. Don't tell people you're done with their disrespect. Remove your tension. Don't tell people you have high standards. Let them hit the door when they fail to meet them. Silence is the ultimate filter. As we mentioned earlier, silence reveals what words try to hide. When you stop initiating, you see who is actually there for you. It is painful. Yes. You might realize that your phone stays dry for days, but that pain is honest pain. It is better than the comfortable illusion you were living in while chasing. When you remove your energy, people reveal their true intentions. Some will get angry, not because you hurt them, but because you cut off their supply of validation. Others will fade away, proving they were only there for what you provided, not for who you are. Let them go. The trash is taking itself out. One of the biggest traps that keeps us from silence is the need for closure. We convince ourselves, I just need to tell them how much they hurt me, and then I'll be free. No, you won't. You are looking for water in a dry well. If they had the emotional maturity to give you the closure you deserve, they wouldn't have treated you in a way that requires it. Real closure is not a conversation. It is a behavioral change. It is the moment you decide that your peace is more important than their understanding. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. When you try to explain your worth to someone who doesn't value you, you are trading your peace for a performance. You are asking for permission to be seen. True confidence doesn't ask for permission. It walks away. So how do you apply this today? The next time you feel the urge to send that double text, don't. The next time you feel the need to defend yourself against a false narrative, don't. The next time you want to beg for someone to stay, open the door for them. Your silence is not weakness. It is the sound of you realigning with your self-respect. It is the sound of you choosing your dignity over a desperate need for connection. It creates a space where your values rise above your emotions. It teaches others the most valuable lesson they can learn about you. You are negotiable on many things, but your self-respect is not one of them. If you are ready to stop chasing and start attracting, if you are ready to become the lighthouse instead of the tugboat, then make this promise to yourself today. I want you to go to the comments right now, yes, right now, and write this down to cement it in your mind. My silence is my last word. Share this video with a friend who needs to stop texting their ex, or a colleague who needs to stand up for themselves. This is INVICTUS X. Reclaim your power.